In this section, we're going to talk about managing time. And specifically, we're going to look at a day planner. Whether you do this electronically or on paper, if you are not tracking your time, you actually have no idea where it's going. This simple tool of tracking your time and being able to visually see in advance and reflect on afterwards where your time is going and where your time is spent is going to be an essential key to success for you achieving your goals. So let's take a look. Here is a weekly schedule. You can see that we have the days of the week. We have the times that you are perhaps awake, or you would adjust these to whatever your day looks like. Now we're going to schedule in all of the essential tasks that happen in your week. The first thing I want you to think about is when you eat and how much time that takes. Whether you're prepping meals, grabbing something on the go, I want you to be sure that you're scheduling time in to nourish your body. The next thing I want you to look at is where are you looking after your physical health? So what physical activity do you like to do to make sure that you are looking after your physical health? When you're looking after your health, you're going to be more effective at achieving your goals. So when we're eating the right foods, when we're moving our body, when we're getting proper sleep, so that's another thing that you want to make sure that you're putting on your schedule is time to eat, exercise, and get to bed at a decent time so you're getting a full night's sleep. These things are going to really help when we start looking at digging into where we're going to find the time for you to achieve your goals. So the next thing you're going to put on here is maybe your school schedule. If you're taking courses or a course, where does that happen? Does it happen in person? Does it happen online? How are you scheduling that? If you're not in courses, but you're working a full-time job or a part-time job or multiple part-time jobs, what are the static hours that these things occur each week? What are the other obligations in your life that are time-bound and maybe occur every Wednesday night or every Tuesday morning? So we're going to make sure that we include all of those on this list. Now we're going to look at some of the gaps in our day. The other thing I want you to think about is drive time. I've seen so many people fill this out and not take into account a half an hour drive or however long it's going to take you to get from one area to the next if what you're doing is moving about during the day. And then we've got to look at our goals. So where are our goals? If we're, for instance, taking a course, because that is part of our strategy to achieve one of our goals, then where does that course land? Does it land every Tuesday night from 5 to 7? Well, maybe that's over dinner time. Are you better in half an hour increments and you do a half an hour 4 times a week for a 2-hour course? Or where are you going to fit this in? So we're going to look at some of the blank spaces in your day based on this weekly schedule, and we're going to find some spaces that we can put this in so that we can commit to that goal. And now we can see where it's going to land in our weekly schedule so that we are one step closer to achieving that goal. If it's a course, you might also want to think about the study time around that course. So if we look at a schedule of courses, it's not just enough to go to the class. Usually there's stuff that's required for you to do outside of the classroom. So where does that fit in? Here's what I'm going to tell you. The most important thing is that you're reviewing whatever you learned within the first 24 hours. There's been research studies to show how quickly we lose the information when we don't use it. So it's not enough. Knowledge is everywhere. We can find it everywhere. We need to integrate it from our short-term to our long-term memory, and we need to do that by seeing and hearing things at least 7 to 10 times to get it into our long-term memory. And that means we need to review the information that we are learning in whatever capacity that might be. Talking about a course is probably the easiest to do. Could be the same if you are watching something on YouTube. You're probably watching it so that you can take action and implement it right away. And so we want to be sure that when we're looking at our weekly schedule, we are scheduling some review time as soon as possible, and preferably within 24 hours of when we're learning the information. Research has shown that if you don't review information within the first 24 hours, you're going to lose 50 to 70% of what you've learned the day before. If you on a Tuesday have a course and you attend and you do nothing else with that new information that you've learned, and 7 days later you show up back in that course again, research says that you're going to remember only 10% That's right, only 10% of what you learned the week before without that first reinforcement. And I think that is mind-blowing to me and so important that you think about that and then put this in your schedule, because that can really make a difference between you and somebody who isn't doing that when it comes to achieving your goals. When we can find those little snippets of time, and if you're taking a 3-hour course, I'm not necessarily saying that you need 3 hours to review that course, the week's worth of information that you learned. No, you might only need 30 minutes to review that 3 hours worth of content to start to get it moved towards that long-term memory. And think about it. Ask everyone you know, what did you eat for breakfast yesterday? So many people can't even answer what they ate for breakfast yesterday. I always ask this to people, and there's always somebody who says, coffee, coffee, coffee. Number one, that's not a breakfast. Where's the substance to that? But that's often what people are running on. So how are you fueling your body? So if we ask people and they can't even remember what they ate yesterday, or where they went, or when they drove somewhere, who was driving beside them, you have to say, well, wait a second. I thought our brains were efficient and could hold a lot of things. Absolutely. Within a day, there's something like 60,000 different things are processed through our 5 senses. 60,000 different things happen. And when you think about it, when you're driving down the road, you are so aware of people on the sidewalk, other vehicles around you. But if somebody tested you and said, what vehicles passed you? What color were they? What make and model? What did the person look like on the sidewalk? You have processed all that information, held it in your short-term memory for the time that you needed it. When your brain is taking in so much information every single day, your brain has to decide what's important that I need to remember and what can I just toss away. And this is where that 24-hour review, you are telling your brain, hey, remember that course I took yesterday? That information that I learned is really important to me. It aligns with my goals. And so I'm reinforcing it by reviewing it with you, because I want you to take that file folder in my brain and file it away so when I need it, it comes out again. Otherwise, you're sending it to the shredder with probably 59,000 other stimulus that has happened to you during the day. So 7 to 10 times, it's not going to happen right away, but the first time that you review information, it should be, if you can, and I strongly suggest that you try to do this, review it within the first 24 hours. You're going to see a huge difference. In a 3-hour course, as little as 30 minutes review is going to get you up to that hypothetical 100% of knowing again. So when you are in a course and you learn the information, in that exact moment, you remember 100% of what was just taught to you, but within 24 hours, you're going to lose 40 to 60% of it. But, and this is the good thing, with only 30 minutes of review, you're going to get yourself back up to that hypothetical 100% of knowing that information. And then, over the course of several weeks, you're going to start to lose it, but you're going to refresh it again, which will take you back up to that 100%, 3, 4, 5 times, 6 times, 7 times, refreshing the information. And that's going to keep you at that 100% until it's stored into that long-term memory. And that's when your brain is creating those files that you're going to be able to retrieve time and time again over extended periods of time. And that is how you should think of scheduling your week. So if you are learning a new skill, where in that week can you practice, review, and integrate that into your life so that you're telling your brain, this isn't the vehicle that sped past me on the highway this morning that has no relevance and that I can forget about. You're telling your brain, this is the stuff, this is the big dream, this is the goal, this is the important stuff that I want to keep in there so I can retrieve it later because it means a lot to me. So your daily schedule. You don't want it blocked so full because mishaps happen. Life happens. You want to see some white space in your schedule for things that run over, for the unexpected. That is absolutely essential as well. So what I don't want to see you do is to jam pack this with every single moment and every single day being filled up. You want to see some of the white spaces so you can move things around. The other thing I like to say to people is if you planned to review that information on a Tuesday night and your friend calls you up and says, it's cheap night at the movies, let's go out, I want to have some fun, that you don't need to be super strict with this. You could take a look at your schedule, look at white space, see if you can move it somewhere else so that you're not giving up on your goal or your dream, and you're having a good time with your friend and being able to go out and socialize. That's what this is so nice about looking at a weekly schedule, because we can shift and move things around. What we don't want to happen is that we start moving everything, and then on Sunday at the end of our week, we don't have enough hours in the day to accomplish everything, and now things are dropping off the list. That's where the procrastination comes in. That's when I want you to really think about your goals and go back to your why. Why is this so important to you? Because if you're not doing it within the week, if you're like, oh, well, this happened on Tuesday and this happened on Wednesday and Thursday, and that repeats itself a week, 2 weeks, and all of a sudden you're years in and you haven't achieved your goal. This is why I love the weekly schedule, because you can move things around as long as you have some white space. There's some flexibility, but you can have a weekly check-in with yourself at the end of the week. And please put this on your schedule, whatever day it is, whatever time you want to prepare for the next week. You want to schedule some time in your weekly schedule to prepare for the upcoming week, and at the same time reflect on the week that you've just finished. So what went well? What didn't go well? Why did it go well? Why didn't it go well? What supports or who do I need to talk to in order to improve my time management and improve what I'm doing in the week to make sure that my time is spent wisely in pursuing what matters most to me. So that's it for the weekly schedule. I highly recommend you use either your electronic or you print it out. What you want is you want to be able to see it easily, see it regularly. So whether you're printing it, whether you have it electronically, whether you have it both, maybe you've got it on your fridge at home, a bulletin board, your bathroom mirror, you want to be able to easily see that so that you can follow it hour by hour, day by day as you work towards your goals.